Hey. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, March 30th right now as we're going live at 9 a.m. Central here on LinkedIn to explore the 10 lessons that we took away from the 8,760 hours of COVID last year. And thank God those 8,760 hours are behind us. And there's a whole new 8,760 hours in front of us. So what are the lessons that we learned during that last year of the pandemic? Well, I identified 10 lessons that over these 2 weeks, we're going to be exploring each one of them one at a time, one each day. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of connections, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get started in just about 2 minutes. So come on in. I can't wait to see you. Let's connect and let's get going in 2 minutes. All right, good morning. Again, welcome. I am so pleased to be with you. So we're exploring these 10 lessons that we learned through COVID, through the 8,760 hours of it. RJ, good morning. Hugh, good morning. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Guy, I can't tell you how much it means to see you and to be interacting with you again, man. So good to see you as well. And everybody else that's coming in, be sure to say hello. I'd love to connect with you all. And as you guys got ideas, please be sure to share them. As I'm watching the comments, we'll try to bring them in and have this two ways, right? Because as I say, I'm learning as we're going on this journey along with everybody else. So real excited about today. We kicked this thing off yesterday, looking at the first of 10 lessons. But here's the premise of what we're doing today and over the next 2 weeks. You see, it was March 13th of 2020 at 10 a.m. in this very office that it just dawned on me, 10 a.m. Friday, March 13th, that I came to the conclusion that the world was going to change overnight because of this thing, didn't even understand it, called COVID, okay? Sorry, I got to tell you, I'm laughing because Joe, you just came in. Thanks so very much, Joe. Good to see you. And Joe comes in and says, good morning, all, keep smiling. And Joe, I saw that and I paused. So I started laughing because Bethany on my team, Bethany, what do you always tell me, right? When I get on camera, she says, sir, you're sometimes too stern and all this. She says, keep smiling. So Joe, thanks for the reminder too. But it was March 13th, 10 a.m. And we came to the conclusion that the world was going to change overnight. And we all know that it did. And so Bethany and I sat back and we said, what are we going to do during this? And we said we wanted to do four things. We wanted to do four things. We wanted to reach out to the industry, and we wanted to provide inspiration, hopefully. We wanted to provide the right insight. We wanted to provide connectedness. And yes, we thought we all could use a hug. And that's what we worked hard on in the early stages of COVID. And so here we are over a year later. On the March 12th, then, that Friday, 2 weeks ago, there was 8,760 hours had passed as a result or during that COVID. And the question became, what did we learn from it? So several weeks ago, I'm going to talk about this in a bit. I flew down to Miami for an amazing conference. And on the plane down, that's what I did. I reflected. I pulled out my journal and I started writing down and thinking about what are the lessons that we've learned from there that we can carry forward over the next 8,760 hours together. And we sent out that email and posted it as a blog. And I have to tell you, that email was, I believe, the most replied to me. People saying, Dirk, this is fantastic. Can I forward it? I've sent it to all my family, to all my employees, and the most forwarded and the most replied to. So I said, you know what? Let's dig a little bit deeper into that. And that's what we're doing here on these live LinkedIn. So here are the 10 lessons that I took away from COVID, and I'd love to have conversation with you on them. Number one, time is precious. We talked about that. Number two, connections are undervalued. We're going to talk about that right now. 3, we'll talk about this tomorrow. Health is everything. 4, you can be asleep while being awake. Technology is both an enabler and a destroyer. How are we using it? Next Monday, we're going to come back together. Leadership matters. Next Tuesday, the human spirit yearns to explore. Wednesday of next week, we entered the new age of acceleration. Thursday of next week, life is a healthy struggle. And Friday of next week, we'll conclude it all with, yeah, it's our job, it's our duty, it's our responsibilities as individuals, right? To take control and make sure that we are absolutely shifting tomorrow. So with that, I did the same thing yesterday. With that setup, let's get today's conversation going. Here we go. Okay, so let's get into the second lesson of the 10 lessons of the last 8,760 hours. And that lesson is that I've been thinking about this, and I believe, and I'd love your input, I believe connections are undervalued. I believe maybe connections trump relationships. So connections are undervalued. Here's what I was thinking as I was journaling about it. What I believe, and again, tell me if this resonates with you. What I believe is that we all do, right? We all value relationships. I mean, in business, we talk about it constantly. We value relationships in our personal and in our professional lives. Relationships are everything we talk about. But what I've come to understand in the last 8,760 hours is that we yearn for more than relationships. We need connections. We need deep, soul-touching connections. But we also need fleeting connections. Deep connections, fleeting connections, and everything in between. For example, think about the last 8,760 hours. When we can't connect with that fellow shopper in the grocery store in aisle 13 with a simple smile, we lose a piece of ourselves, I believe. When we can't serendipitously meet some stranger, at the bar, having an IPA that I love to have and meeting individuals, when we can't have that serendipitous conversation, I think we lose a piece of ourselves. On Thursday night, when Bunko is canceled, we lose that connection and we lose a piece of ourselves. Would you agree? You know, when we think about how we've been communicating, how this country has been communicating during those last 8,760 hours. When we rely on social posts to communicate, the humanity that gets lost in the ether of those digits of those social posts, the humanity that gets lost in the ether, I think causes deep, 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 deep divide and an impossibility to connect. I think then too, we are losing a piece of ourselves. When we only hear sound bites and one side of the story in a 24-hour news cycle, it's impossible to connect with the deeper meaning and the deeper purpose of this amazing country, this amazing experiment called the United States of America. It's impossible to connect with the real purpose of what America means. And we can't connect to that. And in these 24-hour news cycles, and I believe the deeper meaning of this individual, what I'll call yours and my individual essentialness, as our individual stories play out, we become disconnected rather than connected. And I think we lose a piece of ourselves. So yeah, I believe that we undervalue connections. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they just might be more meaningful than relationships. Joe, I love it. You say the ability to personally engage is so important. Joe, I agree. And I think we lost that. And I think we yearn for that over the last 8,760 hours. Thomas, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I think we need to, individually in our personal and in our professional lives, I think we need to talk about this, the importance of connections. In business, we talk about relationships all the time. I've got a whole, maybe when we talk about sales and other things, we'll talk about relationships, because I have a contrarian view on relationships in business too. But for today, maybe let's stipulate, let's talk about, let's explore our connections, maybe deep to fleeting, maybe even more important than relationships. So Guy, thank you. I'm going to put this up. So Guy says, just a thought, with connections comes some sort of obligation where relationships are often taken for granted. Guy, I love it. I was thinking about it this morning as I was coming in, right? Something similar. Let me see if I can pull it out. Right? With relationships, I mean, think about it. With relationships, we maybe do take it for granted because it's there, right? I have a relationship with my family. I have a relationship with my friends. I have a relationship. But am I really connecting? Am I really connecting to the essence of that individual? Am I really connecting to the essence of what maybe we can do and what we mean together? I think there's something there that we can talk about. And I don't know about you, but I think some of those connections, so important from deep to fleeting, were absolutely lost during the last 8,760 hours. So let me just share with you, so 3 examples that's happened in the last several weeks that's gotten me thinking about this even deeper. Number 1 is a sales conference. We have been so honored to be working with a client of ours. We've reconnected over years. They're a manufacturer of absorbents called New Pig. They have a sales team of about 22 individuals. Al Ramito is the national sales manager. Tony Ruggery is VP of sales. And they said, hey, Dirk, it's time to bring you back in, reconnect with the sales team, and refresh our sales process. We started talking about this in October, November of last year. We kicked it off in early March. And here was my premise. And here's what I brought to them. I said, guys, yes, let's do this. But I got to tell you something. If we're talking about getting in front of the sales team in early 2021, I said, look, I've built my career developing sales organizations. I said, but I would feel uncomfortable if the first thing we do on day 1 of this sales strategy, sales trade initiative, sales refocus initiative, I would feel uncomfortable if the first thing we did is got in there and talked about sales strategies. Talked about how do we better connect with customers? How do we better do customer needs analysis? How do we write better proposals? How do we develop a sales strategy? How do we hold ourselves accountable? How many numbers of calls are we going to make? I feel I couldn't do that. So what we did is we laid out a 4-phase process to help them. And in the end, it turned out, I think, to be genius, right? And we still are inventing it on the go. And here are the 4 phases. The first phase, we said, let's focus on the human spirit. Every one of these individuals have had a hard year, and what we need to do is we need to help them connect internally with themselves, their dreams, their goals, their visions, what they aspire to be, because some of that has been lost. Let's spend time helping them connect with that internal drive, that internal vision, and then let's have them share that together. And then after that, we can go to the second phase, and that's when we talk about let's connect and talk about how the world is changing, how sales is going to change. Let's not ask some thought leader. Let's not ask Dirk. Let's some consultant to come in and do that. No, they understand what's going on. Let's have them connect and share and map out and mind map. And then we said, the third pillar is let's ensure that we're working together as a team. And then the fourth pillar was after all that, then we can talk about sales strategy. Guys, we met for 3 days at Nemacolin, beautiful resort in Pennsylvania, south of Pittsburgh. And I got to tell you something. Again, we were experimenting. We were doing it on the fly almost. But every one of those individuals were yearning for the connection of meaningful conversation with other individuals who are feeling the same way, who have gone through the same things. And I really encourage you to ensure that you're driving those types of connections in your organizations, okay? Let me see, Hugh, thank you. Hugh says here, people love to talk but are slow to do it. Yeah, we only learn and accomplish by doing and focusing on others. The quality of the question can be turn the relationship good or bad. Absolutely. Hugh, I love it, right? We only learn and accomplish by doing and focusing on others. And I'm going to call that connection. So the sales conference, and I hope that helps you, those phases. The second thing, guys, 2 weeks ago, I was down in Miami. A guy by the name of Grant Cardone, if you don't know him, I'm learning a lot from him. I used to not be able to relate to him because he's brash, he's braggadocious, but man, he's got some good stuff, and I'm learning from him. And so I went down to his 10X conference down in Miami. There were 2,000 of us, and I got to tell you something. It was magic. Why? Yeah, the content was good, but what was magic is that there were 2,000 individuals leaving their homes saying, I've had enough. I'm going to start taking control. We're coming together, and man, we're going to power forward. Every speaker on that stage, from Damon John and Mr. Wonderful from the Shark Tank to Alex Rodriguez and Drew Brees and other individuals, billionaires coming on that stage, every single one of them, as they walked out, looked at 2,000 people and said, my God, this is wonderful that we are all in this room together again. And they picked up on the feeling of everybody. It was all about the connections. It was all about the connections that was happening. So cool. Joe says here, as a company, we are reintroducing the book, The Dream Manager, because everyone has to regain confidence in ourselves. We need to dream. Oh my God, Joe, I love it. And Joe, is that The Dream Manager from Mary Miller? Or is that another book? I love the concept, Joe. Yeah, we need to dream the dream again. Because, and as leaders, every one of us have the ability to be able to help our people do that. And I guarantee you they yearn it. What I see going on right now, that sales team that I talked about down at 10X, and what I'm about to tell you, man, it's absolutely, absolutely needed. The third example is this Power Together group. We identified that people were yearning for these connections and all this. So in early March, we launched a new program called One Power Together. And it's all about helping individuals live their best self, become their best self, and live their best life. And we're walking through a series of phases over 90 days. I won't tell you about that, but what I do want to tell you about is one of the cool things we're doing. 245 people in this group, and every Monday we meet for a power huddle. We come together in power huddle. But what we've also done is we've created these power circles. And these power circles are where we randomly take these 245 people from all different companies, all different lines of trade, all different types of businesses from around the country, and we put them into randomized groups of 5 to 7 people. We don't put all the hunters together. We don't put all the salespeople together. We don't put all the CEOs together. We don't put all the warehouse people together. We randomize all of that and we put them together in a group and we give them initial agendas to start the conversation, but then we let them go. And in the early stages, what we're finding is that the individuals are loving these random, we call it random collisions of unusual suspects so that they can, in fact, connect. Yesterday during our power huddle, I asked two individuals who had never met before. Jeremy Johnson, who's in inside sales with DSG, and David Shepard, who is in sales management with the Collins companies, different parts of the country, different industries, different job titles, different interests, different families, everything. But there are two of the five that got in the group, and I asked them to come and share with our Power Together group, our tribe, how that first meeting went. And if you don't mind, I took about a 1.5-minute clip, and why don't you just listen to the importance of connections in this off-the-cuff interview that I had with Jeremy Johnson with DSG and David Shepard from the Collins Company. Hey guys, again, I'd love to just have a brief conversation about the Power Circle that you guys have come together. Starting last Monday, you guys came together. And what would be one word that you would use to describe that initial meeting and why that word?
Yeah, for me, it was comfortable, right? So we all got together. I think part of it is we're in our own home, right? We're in our own home. We're in our own office. We're in our own car. Yeah. And everybody just seemed comfortable and open right out of the gate. It's not like a conference where you get grouped into a room and you kind of have to make that, initial introduction to somebody.
Yeah.
So I think we were all comfortable right out of the gate. It's probably because of the environment we were in.
That's so interesting to me. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, cool. Jeremy, how about yourself?
So I might be on the opposite spectrum. Since I'm more of an introvert, the first word that came to mind for me was scary, but that's maybe a little too strong.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly intimidating, just meeting new people and that I have no idea who they are or do I even have anything in common with them. But I think by the end, the word probably changed to more of relaxing or enjoyable because it was, like David said, there's no agenda. We're just meeting. We're just getting to know each other and what makes us tick or what we care about. And so that was the meaningful connection part. And that was really good.
Yeah, that is so cool, Jeremy. So I love that, right? I mean, two individuals met for the first time when we put them together in this power circle. One was comfortable, one was a little scary. But in the end, what they were saying is it was just absolutely amazing to meet new people who they could be comfortable with and share openly, right? What's on each other's minds, and then be there to support each other and the like. And so connections. I think we need to be thinking deeper and harder about making connections. So as I wrote out my thoughts on connection in that email, I wrote out a reflection. And my reflection that I'm asking myself, that I'm asking our clients, that I'll ask you today is this. What do you need to reconnect with? Maybe the dream, right? Thomas, you put up here, never give up on your dream, right? Yeah, I love that. Maybe we need to individually, personally reconnect with our dream, with our goals, with that inner spirit, what we know, the potential that we have. Maybe you need to connect with health again. I don't know. And then who do I need to connect with? COVID, 8,760 hours took us away from a lot of the connections that we know are important to us. And who do we need to connect with? So maybe a thought for you as we're leaving here. So the second lesson I took is that connections are undervalued and they just might trump relationships. So here are three things. Here are three things that you might be able to do starting today, all right? To make some of these connections that we're talking about, maybe deeper to the fleeting. Number one, start each meeting with a positive focus. You guys, I cannot tell you how cool and important and easy this is. Every single Zoom meeting that I have, every single face-to-face meeting that I have now with a client, with my staff, with my family, every meeting I have now, I start with a positive focus. And all that is simply we ask ourselves the question, what is one thing that's going on in your life, personal or professionally, that's positive? Something that's happy, something that's bringing you joy, something that's good, something that's positive. And I don't care if it takes 30 minutes. I don't care if it takes 2 minutes. Time is not the issue. The issue is let's connect with each other. And is there anything better to connect with than what's going on positive in our life, personal or professional? And I guarantee you guys, when you do that, when you take that to your meetings, I guarantee you those meetings are going to be more productive. They're going to be better. The collaboration is going to be stronger. So number one, start each meeting with a positive focus. Number two, today, hopefully, maybe in your mind, you've been thinking about somebody that, you'd like to connect with. That maybe over the last 8,760 hours, maybe you lost a little bit of that connection. Go ahead, reach out, ping them. Maybe it's a text, maybe it's a call, maybe it's an email. Pick up the phone. Yesterday on our Power Huddle, the 245 individuals in the chat, an individual by the name of Sarah had mentioned that it was Jeremy's birthday yesterday, and 43. And Sarah in the chat then said, well, my 43rd birthday was last Thursday. And I saw that, and I forgot to bring it up during the live feed. So what did I do? I tell you what I did. I saw that, and then afterwards I started texting her happy birthday. But no, I didn't. I said, why are you texting her? Pick up the phone and call her, right? Just a simple connection to say happy birthday to her. And then 3, something that we can all do today is let's go out and make somebody smile. One of the things my kids always ask me, is, Dad, do you have to talk to everybody? But I don't know. It's not conscious. But when I pull up to a toll booth, I use the toll booth collector's name because it's right there on the side. One of the things I love to do is, and by the way, this is sincere. When I'm at O'Hare or anybody else, and I use the restroom, and the janitorial staff is in there cleaning. You want to make somebody happy? You want to make a little connection that makes a difference? Let the janitorial staff know how appreciative you are of how clean the restrooms are. It's a fleeting connection. Just showing a little appreciation, a little gratitude, making somebody smile. So those are 3 things that we can do, all of us, even today, right? To bring these connections back that we're all yearning for. So Zach, I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for being here. I think this is such an important topic. All 10 of these are. I appreciate you being here very, very much. Karen, thank you. I don't know. Yep, here you go. Karen, is that it? Yeah, Karen, thank you so much. I'm glad that the message is resonating with you and everybody else. Thanks you for being here. And Hugh, let's see here. Hugh, thank you. You say, I asked my team, sales and support, go out and make friends each day instead of asking them to prospect. Again, right? It's about that connection. So I love it. Dwight, thanks for being here, man. Dwight, man, you and I go back so long. I miss you, buddy. I miss you. Thanks, sound invite. Must admit, I'm still trying to get used to you standing in one spot. I know. Here, I'll jump a little bit. How's that, Dwight? Is that better? All right. Like I'm getting older though, Dwight. So, cool. Joe, you say the janitorial staff really appreciates being recognized. They do, man, and it's sincere, right? I mean, what they do is absolutely critical. Dutch, I got to tell you something, man. You changed my life, buddy. Great to see you. Dutch, here is your challenge coin that you gave to me down in Miami. Man, I think of you and Glenda often. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to reconnect, and thanks so much. So everybody, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at the 3rd lesson, and that 3rd lesson is that health is absolutely everything. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central again. Everybody go out, have a great day, and let's make some connections.